Hi, my name is Ayana Hamby, and this is Journal Entry 2 for The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Let's get into these questions. The first question is, give a summary of the major events and character developments in that section. So we're not answering a lot. We're gonna get right into it. When the Hobbit and Bilbo Baggins and the 13 Dwarfs and Gandalf are on their way to Rivendell, this is the mysterious place Gandalf was ranting about how he disappeared and left the Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins, and the 13 Dwarfs with the trolls and want to rescue. We know all that from the last journal. But they want to go to Rivendell. We see the character development from the dwarves. The dwarves actually begin to be happy and smile without being around each other, being around other company in another place that they think is rather silly. And that's the elf realm named Rivendell. And these elves are very silly. They sing and dance, and the dwarves think they're just pathetic and foolish, and they can't respect them because they're not real. They're not real women like the dwarves interpret people to be. But Bilbo was absolutely taken back, and so was Gandalf. Everyone was just having a good time, just looking at this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. And Gandalf is, leading them. And where is he leading them to? He actually got them like sort of a reservation room there. To be honest, this is what I'm looking at it as. But Gandalf actually had Elrond, the head elf, who was introduced as a new character. We don't really know anything about him, but we know that he helped the dwarves and Bilbo and Gandalf a lot on this journey. So he lets them stay at his house, or the head house, for a month or so. And by the end of their time there, he sends them off with new ponies and new clothes and new food, and he tells them about the map and their swords that they got from the trolls. And these swords are made in Gondolin. They go way back to the wars between the dwarves' ancestors. And they're really special, they're really unique, and he doesn't even know how the trolls got them. But he knows that they must use them wisely, and they must keep up with them, because they're kind of chosen for him. He also sees there's a hidden words in this map, and those are called moon words. And basically, you can only see moon words if they're written on one particular moon in one specific month and of a specific season. So they got really lucky. But he told them if they wanted to see all these moon words that he realized that were on this paper, they would have to wait until the moon and sun are directly aligned with each other. And they called this day Durin's Day. Soon these dwarves and Gandalf and the Hobbit full of Baggins were kind of interested in Durin's Day. What else could be on this map? So Gandalf, he and the dwarf and the Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins, they go into this mountain. Well, they go on their journey into the mountain, and Gandalf knows what's in these mountains, what lies here, mysterious creatures and goblins. But Gandalf doesn't tell the dwarves that. He never tells them, nor does he tell Bilbo. J.R.R. Tolkien tells us. So what else does Gandalf know? What else is he keeping from the characters? So that's the character development there. Gandalf is still secretive. Gandalf is still doing things that he's not telling anyone. And that's kind of making me wonder, Gandalf, you need to get it together. But anyway, a heavy storm passes, and they wind up staying in these caves. We see a character development from Bilbo while they're in this cave to take shelter. We see that he's very frightened, very scared, and he begins to have nightmares and can barely sleep all night. So we see that Bilbo's not actually really having a good time as much as we suppose. He's very frightened most of the time. But we see a boost of confidence later from Bilbo. And we'll get later into that. But Bilbo has this nightmare that there's a crack in the wall and it's getting bigger and bigger. And this crack in the wall basically turns into a real life scenario. Goblins live in this cave that were hidden in these mountains, and they open this crack in the wall and they begin to kidnap the dwarves and Bilbo and the ponies, but they couldn't kidnap Gandalf because he was much too big for them. They sleep in the middle of the night and take them, and once you know, Bilbo's screaming, and Gandalf kills a couple of goblins, but he's not able to reach the dwarves or Bilbo in time. The crack closes, but in 2 days or so, he encounters the great goblins and a couple of more goblins, and eventually lets them to their escape. The goblins ransacked through the dwarves and Bilbo's sacks and their bags, and ate the ponies right in front of them. No sincere respect here. But the goblins were going to kill them anyway, so perfectly, Gandalf came right in time. But On their way through these tunnels that the goblins knew well, they created themselves. They're intersected by more goblins. They run into them. They're not fast enough, and they really don't know their way in the dark. And Bilbo was left behind. When they stumbled into these goblins, Bilbo went into another completely direction, and the 13 dwarves and Gandalf went into the right direction. And Bilbo stumped more, and he was lost in these caves. Bilbo goes to this tunnel, and he sees a lake, but he also sees something on the ground, and that is a golden, bright ring laying there. And he's just starstruck by it. The only thing he knew to do was to put the ring in his pocket. What else is there to do? So he also sees something else, and that's a mysterious creature that lives in this cave that Gandalf knew about, and also the goblins know about as well. The Great Goblin asks to go to this lake and says, "Hey," to these goblins, "give me some fish." No goblin wants to go down to this lake because they know that there's a mysterious creature down here they do not want to encounter. And this mysterious creature named is Gollum. He loves to eat raw fish, and he loves to eat goblins and anything else he can get his hands on. Because he is very, very evil, very, very conniving, and very, very self-centered, and crazy, and deranged. He talks to himself and calls himself Precious. Yeah, that's weird. But Bilbo encounters with this creature named Gollum, and they basically ask each other riddles. Gollum has something else in mind, a little game. If Bilbo can answer these riddles and not answer all of Gollum's riddles, and if Gollum stumps up on one of Bilbo's riddles, then Gollum will show him the way out. But if Bilbo can't answer one of Gollum's riddles, then Gollum, he will kill him. He will eat him. Him and it's precious, as he calls himself. But eventually Gollum gets stumped on one of Bilbo's riddles, and that he asks, "What is in my pocket?" And that is the ring, of course, but Gollum cannot answer. So he has to show Bilbo the way out. But Gollum has something else in mind. He says, "Oh, I have to get something to help us lead the way." And then he gets is the ring. The ring has a magical power to make him become invisible. And Gollum's going to use it to advantage to become invisible, and Bilbo won't see a thing coming, and Bilbo will just eat inside Gollum. But, Gollum can't find the ring, because Bilbo has it in his pocket. And Gollum eventually realizes that Bilbo has it in his pocket, and he wants to kill Bilbo at this point. He doesn't want to eat him, just kill him. He wants his ring back. It was very important to him. But Bilbo finds his way out, and he learns about the ring and its invisible powers, and he goes through these tunnels, past the goblins, and to the dwarves and Gandalf again. We see a character development there that these dwarves eventually have respect for Bilbo and gain respect for Bilbo that Bilbo deserves. And Gandalf sees like, hey, maybe I was right. Bilbo does need to be on this journey, and Bilbo will help these dwarves out. And with the ring, I think Bilbo even has a little more confidence within when he thought that maybe he can do it, and maybe the burglar that these dwarves want him to beat and help him on this journey. So that's all we see from there. So the next question is, choose an interesting character from the novel, write a sketch of the character that includes at least one paragraph, a minimum of 6 paragraphs in each of the following. Here is my character sketch of him, and we're just going to basically describe in my picture for the appearance portion of this question. Appearance. Gollum is described to have really big eyes because that's how he adapts to his environment. He's also described to have really big feet, and I feel like J.R. Tolkien is hinting on that Gollum might be a hobbit himself. Hobbits are described to have really big feet, so since I'm going off my hobbit, theory, I decided to give him a small body because hobbits are very small. And here he is perched on his heels, and he's bald, and he has a really big head. And since I also think he's a hobbit, he has elf ears because hobbit has elf ears. I also gave him staggered teeth and sharp teeth because he does eat these goblins. And he does eat human flesh and raw fish, so he has to have bad teeth. And I kind of gave him an evil look because he is really evil. So there's Gollum, and since Gollum knew about the riddles and Bilbo knew about riddles, I think he's kind of hitting on that both of them have something in common, and I feel like Gollum might be a hobbit like Bilbo. Actions. His actions are pure evil. His intentions are pure evil. All he wants to do is find Bilbo and kill him because he took the risk. And all he wanted to do from the start was kill Bilbo and eat him. So we know that he's very lonely because he talks to himself and calls himself precious, and he lives in this lake and in this tunnel, and he has no one else. All he has is this ring of invisibility that basically overconsumes him, and his actions towards it are mutual love for it. He acts like it's his wife or his child that he can never live without. And his actions basically prove that he loves the ring and that he'll do anything at any cost to retrieve it back. What is his ideas? What does the character think? I think the character thinks about the ring and only the ring. The character loves this ring. He thrives on this ring. He survives on the ring. Without this ring, he wouldn't be able to get substantial food sources from the goblins' meat that he kills and eats, or from the fishes. So he relies on this ring, and I feel like that's all he thinks about. I don't think he even thinks about his past. He thinks about riddles because that's what he was asking Bilbo, but he doesn't really, J.R.R. Tolkien doesn't really give a background on his character. And he probably doesn't want to think about his past because he doesn't want to go back to his past. Who knows why he's in this tunnel? So we don't know anything about him. We just know that he thinks about this ring a lot because he really likes this ring. Reactions to other characters. His reaction to Bilbo was very like, oh my god, a new person in this tunnel. I haven't seen a person in years. Come, let's be best friends. His intentions were to eat him. To eat him. Which was very surprising. You would think since he's so lonely that he would, kind of be with Bilbo this whole time, but I think since he is alone, he kind of wanted to comfort himself with the riddles. But in the end, his reaction to other characters wasn't very surprising or very shocking. He acts like he saw Bilbo for like 2 minutes ago. It was like, oh, what up, Bilbo? Let's do this riddle. Let's eat you. It wasn't very surprising at all. It was just like, hey, another person. I always only care about my rings, and that's what he only cares about. Why is he so important to this novel? He is so important because Bilbo has his ring now, and Bilbo has his ring of invisibility, and he's going to help out with getting this gold back for the dwarves for the dragon. But Gollum is important because he wants the ring. He wants his ring back, and he will do anything in his power to get his ring back because the ring is all he knows. It's like his best friend. It's his lover. It's his wife. It's his child. It's his everything. Gollum's going to be a major part in this because I feel like he's going to give a lot of obstacles in the future in this novel towards Bilbo, or maybe even someone else in the future because he really wants this ring back. And that's what I think is important. Because he's going to do something so drastic to get his ring back, to me, in my perspective. Or maybe he won't. Maybe that'll be the last of what we see of him. And that will lead me to my other question. Why do you like or dislike this character? I love this character because he's so mysterious. And if it's the last that I see of Gollum, I'll probably blow my brains out. Because I love this character. It's my favorite character. We know nothing about him. We only know what J.R.R. Tolkien tells us and what he does throughout his time interacting with Bilbo. And that's why I love him so, because we don't know anything about him, and his intentions are purely evil, and the most we get out of characters in the novel that we love the most are from these bad characters that cause the most conflict. Who loves the heroes? We like the bad guys, and Gollum's the bad guy that we know nothing about, and I want to know more of Gollum. I'm intrigued and anxious to know more about Gollum. So that's why I like him, because he's very mysterious, he's very intriguing to learn about, and he'll do anything to get his ring back, and I want to know what he's going to do to get his ring back from Bilbo. That was Journal Entry 3, and I'll see you back for Journal Entry 4.